There are so many commandments in the Bible that it can be overwhelming to remember them all. In fact, if I were to ask you how many commandments you could remember from every book in the Bible, how well would you do? I know I would probably struggle to remember the Big Ten, much less all of the little commandments laced throughout Scripture. Which leads me to a question: which of the many commandments should I focus on? Jesus answered that question for us in the book of Matthew. He said, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind." This is the great and first commandment. And a second is like it: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments depend all the law and the prophets. I think that Jesus not only gave us the greatest commandment, but in this passage he also outlines what I would call the greatest common calling. First and foremost, you and I are called to walk in relationship with God. Instead of having to remember a long list of do's and don'ts, Jesus removes the heavy burden of the law of Moses from our shoulders and gives us a simple summary of the purpose of our lives. The purpose of our lives is not to obey a huge to-do list, but to do simply this: to love God and love others. That is the greatest common calling. And if you remember nothing else from this book and these videos, I hope it's this truth: God has called you. And that his will for your life is to love him with all of your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself.